On September 15, 1955, Olathe, Kansas hosted a parade that had become a long-standing city tradition. That day in 1955, the parade was supposed to represent a celebration of the town's unity and heritage. But after disaster struck, it became a symbol of something else. How with time and growth, inevitably, all things change. In 1898, Olathe and Johnson County leaders started a much-needed tradition. They formed a festival to commemorate the contributions that it took to create a new settlement from scratch. They called it the Johnson County Old Settlers Reunion. The festival was to be an annual event on the weekend after September 6th. This was the date that William Quantrill and 150 men raided Olathe in 1862. That raid was so impactful on early Olathe and Johnson County that the day of September 6th was chosen for the festival to memorialize those that lost their lives in the raid. At the first event, there was no parade. The meeting lasted one day only, marked by folks who arrived in covered wagons for a picnic and speeches by early pioneers. It's important to note that there were likely both African American and Native American children born earlier in the area, but as a product of a racially unequal time, they weren't officially counted. Over the next few decades, as the city grew from a Wild West outpost into a well-established town, the nature of the Old Settlers Reunion evolved as well. By the mid-1940s, it lasted 2 days and included late-night street dances, a parade with prizes offered for the best floats, a separate flower show, and even a baby pageant. Rather than being called a reunion, it was expanded and became more like a carnival with a parade, and the name changed to Old Settlers Days. One of the little boys who probably attended all of these events was named Charles W. Burgess. Charlie was 9 years old when the first tradition started. By 1955, at the age of 66, he still had a flair for the frontier ways. Leading the parade on horseback on that fateful day in 1955, Charlie Burgess was known as Mr. Old Settlers. More than 7,000 spectators lined the 10-block route, which traveled around the courthouse square. For a few blocks, everything seemed normal, but as Mr. Old Settlers rounded the corner of Lula and Kansas streets, it became clear that something was amiss. He lurched forward and dropped his flag, which clattered to the pavement. Mr. Old Settlers toppled off his horse. It was clear he'd had a heart attack. He was reportedly dead before he hit the ground. In the decades that followed, as more Old Settlers grew old and passed away, there weren't any Old Settlers left to ride a parade-leading horse, so the custom was abandoned. Today, some Old Settlers Day traditions have stayed intact. There is an ice cream social, community gab fest for catching up with old friends, and flower show. As the city continues to grow, the now iconic festival has also grown too. It has stretched to 3 full days and draws thousands of people from around the county. As each participant passes the county courthouse, they also pass a monument placed there during a meeting of their predecessors back in 1907 to mark the path of the Santa Fe Trail. It is another reminder of the work it takes, in any era, to create a city that continues to expand and prosper. Mr. Old Settlers might be gone, but each fall the event that he once represented lives on. As for the parade, it's still growing, featuring more high schools, clubs, and businesses than ever before. By reinventing itself as time marched on, the Old Settlers Days Parade has become the largest parade in the state of Kansas. As the event continues to grow and change, let us not forget those people and events that laid a foundation for our community.